With us now is former Oregon Democratic Congressman Peter DeFazio, who served more than 35 years in Congress before retiring. That makes him the longest serving member of Congress in state history as well. Sir, thank you so much for giving us a few minutes today.
Sure, thanks for the opportunity.
I want to start with the immigration crackdown we're seeing from the Trump administration and ICE. Are you surprised we've seen such an aggressive approach even in places like Oregon?
Well, the aggressive approach is only in blue states. This is very political on the part of Trump, and particularly Holman and his advisors at the White House. And of course, they said they were going to go after hardened criminals, but they're going and arresting people who have no criminal record, except they say, oh, well, they came into the country illegally, so therefore they're criminals. And now we have this horrible Supreme Court decision where he can take someone who immigrated from, say, Costa Rica, and he can send them to Sudan. It's a mess, and it's very, very cruel, unwarranted. And again, it's political. They're not doing this in Florida. They're not doing this in Texas. They're going after the blue states and the blue cities.
You mentioned that Supreme Court decision out on this Friday. Were you surprised by that?
Well, I think it's pretty horrific. I mean, what's the justification? Most of the countries that these people have come from will take them back. And we could negotiate with the ones that won't. So to say, well, we're going to just find some place where we can send them, essentially sentence them to death, send them to Sudan, that's unbelievably cruel and unwarranted.
The other major headline grabber lately, the ongoing Israeli and Iran conflict. What did you make of the U.S. missile strike, and where does that go from here?
Well, clear violation of the War Powers Act. Only Congress has the authority to declare war. I worked on that for so many years in Congress. It's been abused by many presidents, but this was unbelievably blatant. Donald Trump was driven by Fox News, and when he saw Netanyahu getting such great press, he thought, wow, I've got to jump in here. And then he started claiming, he first said, well, I didn't know Netanyahu was going to attack. And then later he said, I worked this all out with Netanyahu, and we had a coordinated plan. And then, of course, he used the B-2 bombers on 3 different sites. Fordo being the principal one, which is buried under a mountain, and there are conflicting opinions on what sort of damage was rendered. The Defense Intelligence Agency said it was minimal. Now the CIA and Pete Hegseth are saying, oh no, it's just like the president said, they were obliterated. And they're also saying, oh, we don't think the Iranians moved their enriched uranium, except there's a lot of evidence that they did, not that hard to move in containers. And there was a lot of truck activity. So I don't think he put an end to their nuclear program. He did set it back.
I want to turn to Boeing. You are a longtime advocate and airline safety observer. Has Boeing done enough when it comes to safety improvements?
No. Look, we did the most massive investigation in the history of my committee. Took 2 years over the MAX, 346 deaths. We found they deliberately concealed the existence of the MCAS system, which caused the crashes, from not only the FAA, but from the purchasers and the pilots. Nobody knew the system was there. They kept it a secret within Boeing, even though their own test pilot found that he couldn't recover the plane within 10 seconds, which means a fatal crash would occur. And this was all driven by an eye on the ticker. They had signs posted everywhere and like essentially digital stuff saying, hey, here's where the stock is today. Pick it up, get the work, get the planes out of here. It was a horrible, horrible abuse of a great, great manufacturing company. The first CEO, Muhlenberg, resigned after an embarrassing hearing before my committee. A guy named Calhoun took over. He was chair of the board during the whole debacle. He said it was going to change the safety culture. They got a plea deal agreement, well, a deferred prosecution agreement. They were criminally prosecuted.
Right.
And they got a deferred prosecution under the first Trump administration. After the door plug blew out, the Biden administration determined, hey, they didn't conform to the agreement, which was we're going to have a whole new safety culture. We're going to clean things up here. And it's going to be the way Boeing used to be, making the greatest airplanes in the world. And then again, they were under criminal prosecution. And again, the Trump administration just has entered into a settlement, but it's still being litigated down in Texas. I think the new CEO is trying. But the company was so corrupted by a series of people that came from the failed manufacturer McDonnell Douglas, who merged with them. And they also moved to a non-union state, South Carolina, where they had no experience building airplanes. And that's caused a lot of problems with the 87, the Air Force tanker. There's a heck of a lot that has to be done to restore the quality of Boeing, which was the greatest aerospace manufacturer in the world.
Do you think Boeing as a company or entity is around in 25 or 30 years?
I think the new CEO is potentially putting them on a path to come back. I mean, they did pick up a bunch of 787 orders when Trump was over in Oman, big order. They actually, for the first time in a long time, were nearly equivalent with Airbus on new orders. Hopefully he can restore the safety culture, the quality, and then they have to start looking at new designs because the MAX is based on a 60-year-old airframe. The 787 was very innovative 20 years ago, but they've got to be looking to the aircrafts of the future if they're going to be around in 20 or 25 years.
And finally today, we've seen an ongoing staffing crunch with agencies like the FAA, especially with air traffic controllers in places like Newark. Is it safe to fly right now, and what has to change at that agency?
Well, we need to have a good permanent FAA administrator. We had one, but Trump didn't like him. He was the first best administrator we've had trying to straighten out that agency in a couple of decades. And right now it's got a temporary head, and they're trying to bring in someone who ran one of the budget airlines to run it. So I'm not sure he's the right person to restore FAA. It's a very stovepiped agency. They were also complicit in the MAX crashes with the captive regulators at the office in Seattle, and even the guy who was head of safety in Washington, D.C., Ali Barami, he came in after the first crash, told me it was a one-off, would never happen again. And then, of course, that wasn't true with the MAX, and we never got his emails. He said, well, he didn't know that FAA had developed an analysis that 15 of these planes would go in during the life of the fleet because of the MCAS system. We've never let anything like that fly before with a single point of failure and a defective system. But I could never get his emails from the FAA. So that place needs a lot of work.
Mr. DeFazio, thank you so much for joining us here on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.